Hi everyone, very good morning. So today in this class we are going to see political science as a subject, political science PSIR as a subject. So basically this class is going to be very useful for the people who are still, they have not decided what is going to be their optional, and if they are exploring the political science as their optional. So in this video session in this class I am going to discuss few things. For example, we are going to discuss meaning and essence of this subject. We are going to see what this subject is all about. Then we will see what are some popular myths about this subject. Then we will see why political science is a good optional subject, why we should go for the political science as optional subject. Then we will see some syllabus overview in the sense that we are not going to decode the entire syllabus, we will just scan the syllabus, and then at last we will see how to approach this paper. If you are going for this optional paper, you should approach this paper, that we will see. So let's start the class. So the very first part that we are going to see is meaning and essence of political science as a subject. Now when we say political science, this subject political, this has been derived from the word that is called polis. Now when we say polis is a word which means city-state. That means whatever be the affair of a city, that is nation we can say, state we can say, that comes within the part of this political science. Now to understand political science as a subject, it is very important to bring a scholar, Maitland. Now why am I bringing this scholar Maitland? Because Maitland has commented on political science that whenever I see this subject political science in any of the question, I am not disturbed by the nature of the question, but I am more disturbed by this word political science. So Maitland wanted to say that this subject political science, it's very difficult to define the subject. It's very difficult to draw the framework, the boundary of this subject, because this subject is a very, we can say, comprehensive subject. It's a package of subjects. For example, when we start studying this subject, when we study the authors, the scholars like Plato, Aristotle, Hannah Arendt, John Locke, Hobbes, we feel that we are sitting in the class of philosophy. When we go much deeper into Socrates and when we see why Socrates was father of ethics, then we feel that we are sitting in the class of ethics. When again we scan the topics like president, prime minister, judiciary, bureaucracy, we feel that we are sitting in the class of governance and public administration. When again we scan the topics like Maoism, terrorism, Afghan politics, we feel that we are sitting in the class of internal security. When we scan the things like geopolitics, Indian Ocean politics, South China debate topics and all, in these topics we feel that we are sitting in the class of geography. When we study the topics like Cold War politics, world order, how the world moved from bipolar world to unipolar world to multipolar world, we feel that we are sitting in the class of world history. In the Indian government and politics, when we study the topics like caste, religion, ethnicity, race, we feel that we are sitting in the subject, in the class of what? Sociology. So you can see that this political science has all the subjects in the subject, and we can see all the subjects, they have some footprint in the subject that is called political science. And that is why Aristotle, who is said to be the father of political science, has commented that political science is a master science. Political science is a queen of sciences. So Aristotle wanted to say that all other subjects, they have some kind of trace with subject of political science. If you take the example of Ernest Barker, then he said that political science is architectonic in character, and all the other discipline, they take cue from the subject. So Ernest Barker basically wanted to say that political science is foundation for all the other discipline. So by this you can understand that political science is a very comprehensive subject, it's a very comprehensive discipline, and we have to study a lot of subjects within this subject of political science. Now let us move further. So to understand this subject political science in more comprehensive manner, let us now decode and study the debate between Plato and Aristotle. So Plato is said to be father of political philosophy, and Aristotle is said to be father of political science. By the debate between Plato and Aristotle, by that friction between Plato and Aristotle, we can understand this political science as a discipline. So let us first focus on Plato. So as a thinker, Plato was quite disturbed from the affairs of Athens. Plato was disturbed because Plato believed that Athens is suffering from maladministration, malgovernance, lot of corruption is there in Athens. Athens is basically in the stage of totally administrative crisis. He defined that in Athens there are two states. One is the state of rich and the state is poor. In crux, Plato wanted to deal with corruption that was prevalent among the ruling class at that time. So Plato then came with a solution. And what the solution Plato gave? Plato gave the solution on the basis of his famous metallic theory. Now let us understand what exactly is this metallic theory. So Plato says that all the people, they can be divided into three types: gold class, silver class, and copper class. Plato says gold class people are those people who have appetite for knowledge, appetite for reasoning, for intellectual development. Silver class people are those people who have more hunger and appetite for power, domination. And copper class people are those people who have appetite and hunger for materialistic accomplishment, wealth, etc. Now what Plato says, that ruling class, the ruler should be from gold class. That means the ruler should be the people who have appetite for knowledge and intellect and not appetite for power or wealth. So what has happened in Greece, in Athens, that these people, that is silver class and copper class people, they have basically occupied the ruling class. So try to understand this saying of Plato in our current context itself. So in India, you must have seen that if a politician is there, and if that politician has hunger for power, and if he has occupied a chair of politics, then naturally his tendency will be to retain that power, and he will go to any extent to retain that power. If a person has natural appetite for wealth, and if he becomes minister, then that person after becoming minister will do only one thing: he will just want to earn more and more money. So Plato says that the ruling class people should be from gold class. Now Plato was asked that how we are going to decide that who are the people who are from this gold class or silver class or copper class. So here Plato suggested his theory of education. So Plato has given a very comprehensive theory on education, and what Plato says, let us bring all the children of Athens in a common school. So basically school will not be controlled by private body, but a school should be controlled by public, that is state. Now all the children will be brought within a common school. Let us put all the children in this common school. Now they all will get common education, common teacher, common syllabus, common curriculum, and there will be multiple screening tests to filter that who are the people who have more hunger and appetite for knowledge. So Plato says among all these children, the people who will be in the position to pursue education up to the age of 50. That means any person who keeps his journey of education up to the age of 50 will be called as philosopher king. Philosopher king. So philosopher king, it means that a person in the Plato who completes the education of 50. And so Plato says any person who has so much hunger for knowledge that he keeps his journey of education continuous for 50 years really deserve to be known as philosopher king, and philosopher king should rule the nation, the country, or the state. And then only this philosopher king will not run after power or money, but he will be interested only and only in the public welfare. Now Plato says philosopher king is a person who is reluctant to rule. He don't want to rule, but he comes to the ruling position only with the service of mankind, service of public. Now Plato has given certain features, or we can say certain powers, to this philosopher king. Plato says philosopher king should have absolute power. Philosopher king should not be limited or should be checked by any institution, but he should enjoy absolute power. Philosopher king should not be influenced by any other institution, class, or public opinion. Why? Because he is a person who knows the best. Plato says it is foolish to check an expert medical practitioner with the law of medical books. If a person who is already so knowledgeable, who knows the justice system, why are you putting him under check with public opinion or sentiments, etc.? And that is why, in short, how to end corruption or how a state should look, the state should be ruled by a person that is called philosopher king as per Plato. Now let us see, now come to Aristotle. So Plato has given us the institution of philosopher king, and Aristotle is studying this institution of philosopher king. Now what Aristotle says, that it is not a wise idea to give all the power, absolute power, in the hand of a person that is called philosopher king, because power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So chances are there that if we give more and more power to a person, he might become dictator. After all, he is a human being, and we should not miss the point that human beings have emotions. So there might be a time when out of passion, he might take wrong decisions. We can compare this with our general life. So don't you feel that we have seen many people who are so well educated, who must have completed their education up to the age of 50, but they have something like, we can say, they lack character. And that is why Gandhi says that knowledge without character is a sin, because Gandhi knows that even the knowledgeable people can lack something called character. So what Aristotle says, that philosopher king, that is rule of one person, it is better to replace rule of one person by rule of many person. All right. So what is the meaning of many person? So Aristotle says that many person, that means any institution, any book which reflects the view of ideology of many people. In short, Aristotle says that law should be there and not there should be rule of philosopher king. That is, replace philosopher king with the institution of law. In short, rule of law is better than rule of one person, philosopher king. Why is it so? Number one, rule of law represents wisdom of many people rather than wisdom of one man. Number two, law book is not influenced by, it cannot be influenced by emotions or passions like philosopher king. Number three, law represent wisdom of ages and not wisdom of only one generation. For example, our Indian Constitution, it represents wisdom of ages. It represents the ideas of our founding father. It represents the ideas of Buddhism long back and all. And that is why Aristotle says that rule of law is better than rule of a philosopher king. Now this person Plato, when he becomes mature, he has written a book, and in his book he says that okay, rule of law is good because it is difficult to find philosopher king. In short, Plato says rule of law is second best state and rule of philosopher king is first best state. So what did you see in this entire debate? That Plato says something, Aristotle counters him, and within and after the countering of Aristotle to Plato, we see that there is some kind of consensus even between Plato and Aristotle. So this entire subject is nothing but this entire subject is political science. So political science is nothing but political science is debate. Political science is discussion. Political science is dissent. Political science is conflict between two schools of thought, two scholars to reach to something which we can say pursuit of truth. In political science, there is always, you will find debate. There is debate between left and right. There is debate between communism and capitalism. There is debate between socialism and capitalism. There is debate between liberalism and socialism. There is debate between Gandhi and Ambedkar. Debate between Thomas Hobbes and John Locke. Debate between Lee Kuan Yew and Amartya Sen. Different people give different perspective and we reach closer to the truth. In political science, you will just find clash of ideas, conflict of ideas. For example, founding father of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew, says that the third world countries, they should not be concerned about democracy. Democracy is a luxurious concept. Democracy is luxury of first world developed nation. Why you people are concerned about democracy? Focus more and more on development, materialistic accomplishment, infrastructure, rather than focusing on democracy. But Amartya Sen says, Gandhi says, and Nehru says that democracy is not an mean, but democracy is also the end. That means when a country gets democracy, that itself is a development, and we cannot say that democracy is only mean, but democracy is both mean and end. For example, let us take the example of Gandhi and Ambedkar. So Gandhi says that villages should get the real power. Real power should lie with the villages. But Ambedkar says that villages are den of ignorance. There is casteism in villages. So it is not a wise idea to give all the powers to the villages. So can you see there is a kind of debate between even Gandhi and Ambedkar. Similarly, take the example of liberalism. I am very much sure that even if you are not the student of political science, you must have heard about this subject that is called liberalism. So liberalism has a concept that is called negative liberalism. In negative liberalism, we have negative liberalism. When we say negative liberalism means there should be no state. People should enjoy the liberty, there should be no state. After this, we can see the evolution of positive liberalism. When we say positive liberalism, there should be presence of a state. Then again we saw the evolution of neoliberalism. So neoliberalism means roll back the state. After that we see the emergence of social liberalism. In social liberalism, there should be liberty also, and there should be what? State also. So can you see the evolution of liberalism? No state, yes to state, no to state, again yes to state. So this is all political science, when idea gets countered by some idea and we go closer and closer to the truth. So I hope that you people have understood this up to this now. Let us move to our next. So now I'm going to discuss some popular myths about PSIR as an optional paper. So there are many popular myths that is there in the market about this subject PSIR. So let us discuss some of the myths one by one. So the very first myth is that PSIR is very lengthy and vast. So I'm not going to deny this fact. I can very easily say that yes, political science is a very vast subject. It's a very lengthy subject. But this is again a myth. Why this is myth? Because if anyone study political science as a separate subject in isolation, then I can say that political science is a vast subject in comparison to other subjects. But here you people are preparing for UPSC, and in UPSC there is not only political science, but there is also something called GS essay and also the interview paper, interview stage. In short, if you see political science in the bigger context of the entire syllabus of UPSC, you will find that political science is not so vast. Why I am saying you so? Let us take the example of international relations. So in GS paper, there is a topic called international relations. If a novice person will start studying international relations, then he will take at least 25 to 30 days to complete this topic of international relations. But a student of political science completes international relations hardly in 2 to 3 days for GS paper. So what is the point? The point is that you are saving your 25-30 days by taking this subject of political science. You are saving your time in essay. because every year in essay you will find some essay from the subject political science. Every year or very frequently you will find questions from Gandhism, questions are there from international politics, questions are there from philosophy. So this paper helps you in essay. The paper helps you in ethics paper. In fact, in ethics, sometimes there have been direct question from political science. For example, once in 2016, there was a direct question from John Rawls. John Rawls is a part of political science. Almost every year you will find questions from Gandhism, Socrates, Aristotle, Abraham Lincoln. These all topics are nothing but the part of political science. This paper, political science, helps you in GS paper 2. Entire governance part in GS paper 2, that is nothing but that is offshoot of this paper, PSIR. In PSIR, you guys are going to study grassroots democracy, Panchayati Raj, judiciary, institution of president, prime minister in a very comprehensive manner. That is going to help you in the GS paper. So in crux, political science helps you in other parts of the GS, and not to miss, PSIR helps you even in prelims examination. For example, few years back there was a question about historical materialism, and historical materialism is a part of political science that we study in Karl Marx. In fact, for the last few years, UPSC prelims examination, they are throwing some questions on conceptual clarity of polity. That is, what is the meaning of liberty or freedom, the meaning of constitutionalism. All these topics are basically nothing but reflection, or we can say extension of philosophies that we study in political science. In fact, this also helps you in world history. If you scan the syllabus of world history, you will find there that we have to study the philosophies like communism, socialism, Maoism. These all are nothing but they are part of political science. In crux, the paper is vast, but if the paper helps you in other subjects, we can say effectively, or in the crux wise, political science is even shorter than the other subjects. Very easily, by putting some quality time, you can complete this paper in 4 to 5 months. Now, second myth is that political science is dynamic in nature. Yes, political science is dynamic in nature, there is no doubt in that. But tell me one thing, as a student of political science, can you miss this dynamism? Can you miss any important international events? Can you miss any important Supreme Court judgment? Can you miss any important national events? You cannot miss. In short, dynamism is hallmark of UPSC. Dynamism is core of UPSC, essence of UPSC. Dynamism, current affairs is like a blood, and this UPSC is like a body. Like blood, this current affairs flows into the entire body. So dynamism, being dynamic, being aware from the outer part, is one of the major criteria to qualify UPSC, and so you cannot miss this, and so this is nothing but this is a myth. Next myth is that this is not recommended for technical people. This is highly wrong, because for the last many years you can see many rankers who qualify with political science as a subject, they are basically from medical background, they are chartered accountant, they are engineers, and they complete this subject quite efficiently. In fact, if you're not from the technical background, that is from political science background, there is one advantage also. I have seen that the students who come to my class from political science background, they carry here a lot of misconception and prejudice. They feel socialism is so, democracy is so, Socrates was elitist, and so much misconceptions are there in their mind. And if you're not from this background, political science, then it is more easier for a teacher to convince you, because you all start with a fresh and you all approach this subject with a mature mind. Then lot of facts, data is there is a lot of ratification in political science. This is again wrong. Political science is a subject of intelligence, it's a subject of analysis, it's a subject of logic. For example, when Karl Marx says that capitalists dig their own graveyard, Karl Marx has given certain logic to it. Just now I taught you about Plato. So why Plato supports philosopher king? He has given a background of metallic theory. Why Aristotle supports the idea of rule of law? He has given certain logics to this. So in political science, all the scholars, philosophers, whenever they give any idea, that will not appear to you as a metaphysical abstract, but that will appear to you logical and conclusive. You can very easily tackle the subject if you have intelligence, mind, and application is very, very important. All right, so I think that I have cleared the myths about this subject. Now let us move to our next slide. Why PSIR is a good option? So the very first thing is that first of all, there is nothing like good optional or bad optional. I strongly believe that all optionals are good at their places, and depending on your area of preference, your taste, your background, different people have different taste for this optional paper. So the very first criteria of choosing an optional paper is not about PSIR, but for any optional is that that optional paper should be interesting to you. So PSIR is one of the most interesting topic, most interesting discipline, because after studying this PSIR, you will find that you can analyze the entire world around you in more rational manner. After studying this subject, you will feel that you have a different perspective for international politics, different perspective for Indian politics, for democracy, for philosophy. Your entire perspective is going to change. And when you start connecting the subject with your outer world, with this contemporary country, contemporary society, you feel the subject to be very, very interesting. And if you have developed, and you do not have any option, you need to develop the art of application of the knowledge of political science to the outer world, then you will start enjoying the subject. So the political science is very interesting subject. This is factor number one. Now, overlapping with other subjects, this I have already told you that this subject is overlapping with essay, society, internal security, even economics, international relations, then we have polity, world history, and ethics. So this subject is a good option because of overlapping. Factor number 3 is interview. What we have seen that whenever some student with PSIR as an optional enter to the interview panel, then he can just try to channelize, he can just channelize the entire panel towards the knowledge of international relation, international politics. So by gaining a command over this subject, you can channelize the interview board towards the core knowledge of PSIR. Then this subject is popular. Why popularity of any subject is important? Obviously popularity is important because if the subject is popular, you can get a lot of teachers, a lot of test series, a lot of good books, notes, peer groups, fellow aspirants, etc. This is also very important. In fact, in political science, there is not even a single topic on which you will not get a good book in the market. So there are plethora of resources, and resources are plenty to you, and you will get all the resources which you need to crack this examination. Then result oriented, obviously political science is a result oriented subject. Every year you can see approximately 80 to 90 students are there who qualify UPSC from this optional paper, PSIR. So it's good. Now what about average marks? So what it has been seen that if you complete this syllabus in comprehensive manner, if you have command over all the topics in the political science, then very easily you can get the marks of 250 to 60. Scoring is not a very, we can say, difficult task, and all the students who prepare this optional paper in a comprehensive manner, they very easily they can score 250 plus marks. But the challenge is to score 300 marks, in which you have to put some extra efforts. So this is why you have to choose the PSIR as an optional paper. Now let us go to the next slide, that is syllabus overview of the paper. So this is going to be syllabus overview of the paper. Now let me make it very clear, we are not going to see the entire syllabus, but this is just to give you an idea of this syllabus, this paper, and we'll have a separate class for decoding the syllabus. So basically in this paper we have two paper, that is obvious, and we can divide on a very crude manner into paper A, paper B, then again paper A and paper B. Now paper A, that is political theory, thinkers and ideologies, this paper we can say is the real political science, or we can say only political science. In short, this topic, that is political theory, ideology, is going to be the core of entire syllabus. And so when I teach in the class, roughly we can say 60% of the part will go to only this paper, paper A. This is going to be the core of our syllabus, core of political science. In this paper, we have to read, study thinkers like Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, John Locke, Thomas Hobbes, Rousseau, T.H. Green, Rawls. From India, we have to study thinkers like Gandhi, Ambedkar, M.N. Roy, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, Kautilya, etc. Then we have to study here ideologies like liberalism, socialism, communism, capitalism, fascism, feminism, Maoism, etc. Then we have to study the theories like, we have to study justice here, then democracy, then rights, then equality, then the concept of power. This we have to study in this paper, that is paper A. Now within paper A, I told you that paper A is the core of entire syllabus. Within paper A, this thinker is again the core. Once you command the thinker, you can command the entire political science, and entire paper is nothing but it's a reflection of the thinkers. For example, I told you that Plato supports the idea of philosopher king, and Aristotle supports the idea of what? Rule of law. This has application even in the paper B, this paper A, and even this paper B. So you not just need to develop the intelligence, the analysis skill, and on the basis of paper A, you can cover the entire paper. Now paper B, as the name suggests, this paper is all about Indian government and politics. So in this paper, we have to focus more on India. Now again, I told you that paper A is the core syllabus. So again here, this is nothing but this is reflection of paper A. How come? For example, let us take the example. So in this paper, paper A, we will study what is the meaning of power. So different people have given different concept of power. Some people say power means domination. Some say power means violence. Some people support that power means empowerment. Power means collectivity. So we are going to apply all those things in this paper B. For example, there is a scholar called Pareto, and Pareto says that in reality, democracy is a bogus concept. And in democracy, the real power lies with the elite class. So it doesn't matter BJP comes to power, Congress comes to power, British comes to power, Mughal comes to power, always there will be rule of elite, and this is called circulation of elite. That means you will feel that different political parties are replacing the other political parties, but in reality there will be a rule of elites only. So here in paper B, we will study that whether this concept of circulation of elite is applicable to Indian context or not. So I hope that this is clear. So in this Indian government politics, we have to study different things like we have to study Indian nationalism. So different people have different perspective for Indian nationalism. Liberal have perspective, socialist perspective, Marxist perspective, the new one subaltern, or we can say Dalit perspective. Then again here we will see some elements of modern India also, civil disobedience movement, satyagraha, non-cooperation movements, etc. Here we are supposed to study different movements like OBC movement, women movement, environment movements and all. Then again we are supposed to study here party politics, what are the social basis of BJP, the social basis of Congress, and how the social base of Congress is getting diluted, it's eroding. This is all we are going to see in this paper. Then we will also study here about Panchayati Raj, grassroots level democracy. We will study here about institutions like Prime Minister, President and all. Now one more thing, students often ask that how this Indian government and politics is different from the polity paper. So the difference is about the depth and the difference is about the analysis. For example, in the polity paper, we will study the power of Prime Minister, the power of President. But this paper will take more interest in what is the power equation between Prime Minister and President. What was the envisaged role of President and actual working of the institution of President. So paper 2 is nothing but paper 2 is about international relations, IR. So again I told you that IR is nothing but IR, entire paper will be application of paper A itself. For example, in paper A, we will study about different ideologies, and two major ideologies are liberalism and socialism. So you can see that entire world is divided into two blocks, that is liberal bloc and again socialist bloc. So liberalism and socialism we are going to study in the paper A, but the world which is divided between liberal world and the socialist world, that is US camp and USSR camp post World War, that we are going to see in this paper paper 2. So as far as this paper A is concerned, in paper A we have to study about international theories. International theories like realism, liberalism, Marxism, socialism, feminism, these all theories, functionalism, all theories we have to study in paper A. Apart from theories, we have to study here different concepts like the concept of nuclear policy, transnational actors, deterrence, balance of power. This all we are going to study in this theory. Now as far as this paper B is concerned, paper B is again about India and the world. So paper A, here we are going to study theories, and application we are going to study again in India and the world. How come? For example, say in international theories there are two theories. One theory is realism. Realism means that all the nations should not be concerned about international ethics or global ethics, peace and all, but they should be concerned about realist politics, which US follow. On the other hand, we have another theory, international theory, that is called liberalism. So as per liberalism, the country should be more concerned about peace, making some alliances and all. So different country go for liberal policy, or we can say this policy realist policy. So in this part, paper B, we will see how India has adopted liberal policy or realist policy while making its foreign policy. For example, in this paper A, we will see that there are three types of power. First is hard power, that is about military. Then we have soft power, that is about culture. And then we have a smart power, that is combination of hard power and soft power. So in this paper B, we will study that how India has gone for both soft power, hard power, and also in recent time a mixture of a smart power. For example, in case of China. So in case of China, we are using hard power also, we are using soft power also, and so we are using the combination of both power, that is called a smart power. So in this part, we are going to see relation of India with different foreign powers, like major powers like US, Russia, Japan, China and all. We are going to see here all the major foreign policies of our country. For example, NAM we are going to see, locust policy we are going to see, neighborhood first policy we are going to see. We will also scan Gujarat doctrine and all. Then we will see perspective of India or stand of India in global political events, like what is the stand of India in case of Israel-Palestine issue, Afghan issue, what is the context, the stand of India in United Nations, in case of nuclear policy. All this we are going to see in this paper B. So I have just given you a brief overview of the syllabus, and we will have a separate class for this. Now let us move to the last slide of our class, that is how to approach this paper if you are going for political science as an optional paper. Now the very first point, when you are going for this optional, you need to take a decision. Decision in the sense that you are going for a coaching or you are going for self-preparation. There are many people who qualify this examination with PSIR by self-preparation, and again there are many examples where people qualify with coaching. So this crucial decision is very, very important, and my personal advice to you all will be, please do not experiment. What I have seen that there are many people who feel that they should first go for self-preparation, and after self-preparation again they switch to the coaching. This is very dangerous trend, because once you go for self-preparation and you create a kind of mess, then you do what? You get a lot of misconception in the sense that what the author is trying to say, what the scholar is trying to say, you might misinterpret that, and you will create a lot of complications about this paper. And once you go for self-preparation and when you jump back to the coaching, not as what it should be. So please take this crucial decision. If you are going to self-preparation, just stick to the self-preparation, and there is a certain strategy when you are going to the self-preparation. So it's about coaching or self-preparation. The next step is that you should take it very seriously, that is called notes making. So see, optional paper is very much different from the GS paper. Here notes making is an exercise. It's a very, we can say it's a must, and it's a prerequisite to qualify this paper. For example, when I teach in the class, I give notes to the students. So whatever I teach, say for example, just now I taught you about Plato. Then after teaching Plato, I'm going to give you notes, the handwritten notes. The notes which you take in the class, that is very, very important. Many people feel that if sir is already teaching this and if you are getting the handouts, printouts, why are we going to write in the class itself? So the thing is that when you actually go to the paper for a UPSC examination, you cannot develop the skill of answer writing within 2 to 3 months. Answer writing is a very comprehensive exercise and it deserves hard labor, it deserves time. And that is why it is recommended that even if you are going with self-preparation or any kind of coaching, just make sure that you are going to make notes on your own. The notes which you make in the class, the notes which you make after reading a book, that notes is only going to help you, and that notes will really help you when you write the examination, because that notes will come into your mind again and again. Now, third thing is that thinkers and theories, which I already told you, is the core concept of this subject. So whenever you are studying thinkers or these theories from anywhere, from coaching or some book, just make sure that you are going to invest maximum time to this. What I have seen that normally students think that political science we have to complete in 4 months, 4 to 5 months. Then why are we giving 1 month or 2 months only to these topics, theories and thinkers? And they feel that we are giving more time and they try to shorten the time, and that is going to make your preparation a mess because you have not given the proper time which the topics, thinkers and theories deserve. So just make sure that you are implementing this point. Now what about past year papers? So past year papers is again very, very important. It's very important to scan the past year papers. Now one more thing is that please do not try to solve the past year papers just after studying a topic. Political science is a very connected subject. Whatever you study in one part, that you will see in the different parts. For example, let's set example of state. So state is a very prominent topic in political science. Now Aristotle says there should be rule of law. Plato says there should be rule of philosopher king. Machiavelli says something. Karl Marx says something else. So different people have given different introduction and perspective of state. Unless you complete the entire syllabus, you cannot answer the question of political science. But it doesn't mean that you should leave the past year paper as it is. Just try to be comfortable in the paper. For example, say if you have covered the first topic, Plato or Aristotle, just see what questions are there in the past year and just feel comfortable. Just feel comfortable that yes, at least you are able to understand the demand of the question. Even if you are not in the position to solve the entire question, you should not feel that the question is totally alien to me. You should not feel disillusioned from that particular question. Even if you are feeling comfortable, you are okay with the question, then you are going through the right path. Then answer writing. Again, answer writing, which I told you that it's a very important task in this examination. But again, please do not get into a trap of writing answer on daily basis or writing answer right in the first day from PSIR. This is again a very, very bad idea. If you start this subject, just be comfortable for the first 1 to 2 months. Start answer writing as a core exercise only when you have completed the entire syllabus. And do not think that while studying the subject, you are not going for answer writing, because just now I told you that notes making is a very important exercise. So in the class, when you are making the notes, that is itself a part of answer writing. If say for example I am teaching a topic like foreign policy of India, following are the determinants of foreign policy of India. When you are writing this, following are the determinants of foreign policy, number 1 history, number 2 culture, number 3 philosopher. This notes making is itself an answer writing. So the crux is that the exercise of answer writing, the art of answer writing, should be developed while studying the subject in form of notes making, and go for the core exercise of answer writing in a very extensive manner only when you complete the entire subjects. So friends, I think I am very clear to this. Probably in the next few classes we are going to see the core topic, the core syllabus of this optional subjects. So thank you very much.
Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.